Gyökeres was a hot commodity, but when the mini transfer window officially opened, things suddenly cooled down strangely. The media had painted a picture of a money war between Arsenal, Manchester United, Chelsea, even Real Madrid, a who doesn't buy is obsolete type of competition. But it turned out that when it came time to knock on Sporting's door, no team dared to actually bang on the table to make an offer. No one activated their break clause, nor did they make any serious bids. And this raises a big question. Do the teams themselves feel that there is something not really convincing from Viktor Gyökeres? Can a player who scores dozens of goals in Portugal, a league still considered second rate in Europe, make a difference in the Premier League or La Liga? Then there is the stylistic factor. Gyökeres can play alone but is not good at teamwork. He can press but not explosively. It was thought to be the hottest deal of the summer and the biggest media hit of the summer. Despite the media and press speculation, when the transfer window opened, no team actually bid or tried to break Gyökeres' contract. The Viktor Gyökeres transfer saga this summer has been nothing short of a multi-layered drama, with each character contributing to the chaos. The saying blame yourself first, blame others later should probably apply to all parties, but in this case, the blame is Sporting Lisbon. At first, everything seemed to be going smoothly. Gyökeres wanted to leave Arsenal, needed a quality striker, and the two sides had a gentleman's agreement, which was a verbal commitment that if there was an offer of around 60 million plus add-ons, Sporting would not make things difficult. That's what Gyökeres' side always affirmed. But then when Arsenal actually came back with an offer of that amount, the Sporting president suddenly did a 180-degree turn, demanding at least $80 million. The simple reason was that they knew they had a hot commodity and wanted to squeeze the price to the limit. And so Gyökeres was furious. He skipped training, publicly declared his displeasure, and accused Sporting of reneging on the deal. In the eyes of his agent, it was a betrayal. But it must also be said that if the clause is not binding in writing, it is also a professional mistake to let the player's future depend on empty promises. The story became even more complicated when Gyökeres' agent deliberately dragged Manchester United into the story as a strategic card. They spread rumors that Manchester United were interested, that coach Ruben Amorim was willing to reunite with his student, but behind it was a pre-arranged drama. Manchester United have not made any official offer, and their internal team is not interested. The team is busy with other goals, not to mention they do not play in the Champions League, which Gyökeres himself mentioned from the beginning as the reason for rejecting Manchester United. When Manchester United ignored him and his agent's media stunt was exposed, the Swedish striker immediately turned around angrily. He declared that he never wanted to go to Manchester United, that it was not the ideal destination. That reaction only made things more awkward when everyone could see that this was just a ploy to put pressure on Sporting, but it was completely counterproductive. Then what about Arsenal? They were close to signing Gyökeres, but rather than engage in a battle of wits with a club that was always willing to break deals and a manipulative agent, Arsenal decided to back out and focus on a younger target, Benjamin Šeško. Although the Šeško deal ultimately fell through, the move made clear Arsenal's position. They wanted a young striker with long-term development potential rather than spending nearly $100 million on a 27-year-old who could cause problems in the dressing room if he didn't get his way. The big clubs that seemed to be rushing to snatch Gyökeres have now disappeared one by one. No one has really joined the fight. No one has shown much interest. Chelsea, after some consideration, decided to buy Liam Delap from Ipswich for only $30 million, a deal that is affordable and rejuvenates the squad. In the end, the deal that seemed to be about to explode ended in a dead end. Staying at Sporting was not peaceful because the players went on strike and the leadership lost credibility. Leaving was also difficult because the big guys were afraid of drama, high prices, and bad word. Viktor Gyökeres was caught between his own expectations, the miscalculation of his agent, and the bottomless greed of his home club. If he was not careful, this summer could turn a player who was once considered a blockbuster into a stock item, losing both value and prestige. Viktor Gyökeres may be a goal machine in Portugal, but when compared to the demanding demands of Europe's top clubs, he carries a number of big question marks. And with the value of the deal being inflated to absurd levels, those weaknesses are becoming reasons for the big clubs to be wary. First, the price tag. When a striker is valued at close to 80 to 100 million, you have the right to expect a near complete skill set and a proven track record in the top 5 leagues. But Gyökeres has never played for a club in any of those top 5 leagues. His only appearances in England with Coventry City and Brighton did not make a big impact. It was a quiet failure. Gyökeres had a chance to prove himself in the Premier League but failed to make it, forcing him to take a detour to the Championship and then to Sporting Lisbon where things took off. But because of the failure they have experienced in the English environment, clubs like Arsenal or Chelsea are forced to ask the question, if they return to the Premier League, will Gyökeres have enough courage and adaptability to avoid repeating the same mistake? Not to mention, despite having an ideal physique, tall, strong, good at playing independently, Gyökeres is paradoxically not really good at heading the ball. Many times when he puts himself in a position to finish from a cross, he often chooses the wrong landing point, chooses the wrong time to jump, and even seems quite clumsy in handling high balls. For such a muscular striker, that is a big minus. The Premier League is a place where crosses from the sidelines, from corner kicks, from counterattacks always play an extremely important role, and if he cannot take advantage of his height in the best way, Gyökeres will lose part of his value. Age is also an issue that cannot be ignored. Now 27 years old, Gyökeres is no longer considered a development project. He is not a long-term investment like Benjamin Sesko, Evan Ferguson, or Santiago Gimenez. This is the time for him to immediately make a difference, to create achievements, but he needs a stable enough environment to do that, and not every big club is willing to put absolute faith in a name that has passed the age of development, has never had a successful season at the top level, and comes with an unbelievable price tag. Finally, there is the non-technical element, a difficult but extremely important topic to measure personality and adaptability. Gyökeres' strike refusal to play and allowing his agent to create all sorts of scenarios in the media have somewhat made clubs wary. No one wants to sign a player who is ready to cause trouble when not given his way. This is not only a matter of professional ethics, but also has a direct impact on the dressing room, especially in teams like Arsenal or Manchester United, where psychological stability and respect for the system are prerequisites. So despite his talent, Gyökeres is making himself a risky proposition, a sky-high price tag, an unproven track record in the top flight, a chronic weakness in the air, and an age that's no longer young. All of it makes for a rather unlovable combination. And in today's market, where every contract is scrutinized by data analysis and long-term strategic direction, it only takes one of those factors to be off the mark for a deal to fall apart, let alone all four. The big clubs that were supposed to rush to snatch Gyökeres have now disappeared one by one. No one has really joined in, no one has shown much interest. Arsenal, once considered the ideal destination, is now just indifferent. They do not deny Gyökeres' ability, but also do not make any specific moves, do not submit a new bid, do not put pressure on Sporting. For Arsenal not being able to close, Benjamin Sesko is a regret, but that does not mean they have to return to Gyökeres at all costs. That has never been Arteta's way of working. Manchester United clearly do not see Gyökeres as central to their transfer plans. After securing Matheus Cunha, they turned to Brian Mbeumo, who can play as a false nine or on the right, and only considered Gyökeres if that deal proved difficult. This approach suggests that Gyökeres is really a plan C rather than an urgent target. The first shot that started that indifference came from Chelsea. The London club decided to buy Liam Delap from Ipswich for just 30 million. It's a deal that was affordable, rejuvenated the squad, and importantly did not involve Gyökeres. With Delap and a host of other options up front, it was clear that Chelsea did not need to be too keen on a 100 million 27-year-old unproven Premier League striker. The more one looks at the silence of the big guys, the more it becomes clear that Gyökeres is losing himself in his own overblown story.